So picture this. You're a global celebrity, once draped in royal titles, now chasing Hollywood stardom. You've got a Netflix deal worth millions. Your name alone can trend the internet for hours. And your new show just wrapped its second season. You think you're untouchable, right? But what happens when even the platform that paid you decides enough is enough? That's exactly where Meghan Markle found herself. With Love, Meghan's season 2 was supposed to be her moment. Her chance to prove she could carry a series, connect with an audience, and maybe even rewrite her narrative. But instead, the only thing it managed to carry was a tidal wave of backlash. And what went down behind the scenes makes this one of the most embarrassing moments of her entire post-royal journey. Now, let's be clear. Netflix didn't start off planning to humiliate Meghan. In fact, they gave her everything she wanted: big budget, total creative control, and even the power to structure episodes however she liked. She chose to shoot all the episodes in bulk, treating season 2 more like part 2 of season 1. One big shoot split into segments. Efficient, maybe. Smart? Definitely not, because what ended up on the editing table was a bloated mess that not only lacked soul, but straight up failed 7 different test screenings. Not 1, not 2, 7. All disaster. But nothing, and I mean nothing, flopped harder than the ending. Now, this wasn't just your average finale. We're talking full-on Christmas in July on the beach, complete with Christmas trees, fairy lights, Malibu sand, and Meghan Markle herself channeling Pamela Anderson in a bikini apron, barbecuing hot dogs, and lip-syncing to a rap remix of holiday classics. Yes, that actually happened. Or it almost did. Because right before the show's release, Netflix executives scrapped the entire scene from existence. Deleted. Wiped. Gone. Like it never happened. The decision came just days before the launch date, and it wasn't made lightly. Netflix had already sunk around $5 million into filming the finale. 3 full days of production, 8 celebrity cameos from A-listers to washed-up names trying to stay relevant. All of it shot at Zuma Beach in Malibu with drones, custom lighting rigs, and a team of stylists working overtime to give Meghan her Hollywood dream ending. But the result? Test screeners described it as cringe beyond recovery. One person reportedly walked out. Another said it was career suicide on camera. The feedback was so brutal, Netflix had no choice but to pull the plug. And Meghan, she lost it. This wasn't just a creative decision for her. She believed that ending was her best work yet, her comeback moment, the one that would shut down the critics and prove she still had star power. So when producers informed her that the entire beach scene had been chopped with no intention of releasing it, even as a deleted scene, she was furious. Full-blown meltdown furious. She reportedly begged Netflix to reconsider, insisting that fans deserved to see her vision. But execs held the line. They weren't about to risk another PR disaster on top of the one already forming. Now, imagine being told your biggest scene, the one you thought would redeem you, is so bad it had to be removed to avoid total embarrassment. That's where Meghan stands right now. And the internet? Oh, it's eating this up, because nothing screams Hollywood flop louder than having your finale banned by the very people who paid for it. Behind the velvet curtains of Netflix's glass towers, execs were scrambling. The backlash from the trailer alone had already turned into a full-blown firestorm, and the Malibu finale was gasoline waiting to explode. Internally, the project was being labeled a salvage operation. Ted Sarandos himself got looped in after the 7th screening failure. Something that rarely happens unless things are truly going off the rails. When the footage of Meghan dancing in the sand with oversized candy canes and glitter ornaments first hit the edit bay, one exec reportedly muttered, "We're about to be roasted into oblivion." So, how did it all go so wrong? Sources say the moment Meghan demanded creative control, the entire production team went into survival mode. They weren't making a show anymore. They were fulfilling her fantasy. One crew member described the set as a PR stunt disguised as a series. There were no rewrites, no pushback, no grounding in reality. Every idea she had, no matter how bizarre, got the green light, including the decision to film a scene where she grills sausages next to a fake sleigh while rapping to a beat spliced with Jingle Bells and Kendrick Lamar. But let's talk about some of the material they worked with, because a lot of the action described the exact same scenes they set during the fiction they were actually rapping to in the movie. The original pitch for season 2 wasn't terrible. It was supposed to follow Meghan's attempts to rebuild her brand after the quiet fallout of season 1. The tone was meant to be vulnerable, almost introspective. But somewhere between the concept meetings and the Malibu beach party, things spiraled into self-parody. And while Meghan thought she was creating a feel-good, heartwarming close to the season, everyone else, editors, producers, even her own team, could see it was a train wreck with tinsel. And it gets messier. The footage wasn't just bad, it was unreleasable. The continuity errors were laughable. In one frame, the Christmas tree was lit. In the next, it disappeared. A snow machine accidentally sprayed foam into a celebrity guest's eye mid-scene. The lip syncing was off. The camera crew caught reflections of boom mics. Meghan reportedly demanded that the lighting make her look angelic, but the result made everything else in the shot look flat and washed out. It was a disaster from every angle, visually, narratively, and tonally. And yet, she was still convinced it was genius. People inside Netflix started calling the beach shoot Pam's Folly, a reference to her bizarre tribute to Pamela Anderson's old cooking show. Meghan's outfit, complete with red swimsuit and white apron, was supposed to be ironic. Instead, it came off like cosplay. Combine that with Christmas lights tangled in driftwood, a pitifully small grill, and Meghan attempting a slow-motion strut to an auto-tuned holiday trap beat. And you had what one producer called the most unintentionally hilarious finale we've ever seen. Even the celebrity cameos couldn't save it. Some of them reportedly looked visibly confused during the shoot. One guest thought they were there to film a holiday PSA, not a reality show. Another left after an hour, citing creative differences. A polite way of saying, "What the hell is this?" Once the scene was cut, the fallout inside Meghan's camp was immediate. There were threats of legal action, public statements being drafted, endless back and forth between her reps and Netflix. But the streaming giant stayed firm. The finale was dead. Executives replaced it with a bland montage of unused B-roll patched together just enough to meet the runtime. No celebration, no closure, just a quiet, awkward fade to black. And with that, $5 million of beach lights, celebrity wrangling, and Meghan's dream moment got buried in the Netflix vault. Never to be seen again. Once the dust settled, the real impact began to show. Not just on the show's reputation, but on Meghan's standing in Hollywood. The vibe around her shifted almost overnight. She was no longer the buzzy royal-turned-producer with untapped potential. She was now the woman behind the most expensive deleted scene in Netflix's recent memory. And in an industry that thrives on optics, that kind of stain doesn't wash off easily. At Netflix HQ, internal teams quietly distanced themselves from the rich love Meghan brand. Marketing budgets were slashed, press junkets canceled. The cast, what little there was outside of Meghan, were instructed to dial down media appearances. PR managers working for Netflix even ghosted a few outlets who requested interviews. No one wanted to explain why a scene shot with 8 celebrities was scrubbed without a trace. There was a silent, desperate hope that if they just pushed through the release, kept it low-key, and let it fade out, the internet might too. They were wrong. Clips from the trailer were already being stitched, parodied, and remixed across TikTok and YouTube. One viral remix dubbed the show Malibu Mayhem, a Christmas catastrophe. Others edited the teaser with actual footage of Pamela Anderson from her cooking show, mocking how closely Meghan had tried to emulate the look, minus any of the charm. Within 2 days of the trailer drop, reaction channels had a field day. Everyone, from fashion bloggers to pop culture analysts, picked apart her performance, her voice, her wardrobe, even her grill technique. And Meghan's name was trending for all the wrong reasons. Back at her mansion, things were tense. People close to her said she felt betrayed, not just by Netflix, but by her own team. Apparently, no one had the guts to tell her how bad the finale was while it was being shot. She walked into every production meeting thinking she was crafting something iconic. No one dared burst the bubble. And when it finally popped, it was too late to save her from the humiliation. To make matters worse, the numbers weren't kind. Once With Love, Meghan Season 2 finally hit the platform, it limped into the top 10 for a brief moment, largely out of curiosity. But within a few days, it was overtaken by reruns, documentaries, even nature specials. Viewer retention was abysmal. Most people didn't make it past the second episode. The reviews? Brutal. Critics used words like soulless, egotistical, and shockingly tone-deaf. One headline summed it up best: Netflix should have left this on the cutting room floor. And they almost did. There were whispers that the studio had considered pulling the entire season, not just the ending. But legally, that would have opened a different can of worms. So they let it run, hoping to scrape back at least some of the investment. Meghan's contract, though, was already being reevaluated. That big multi-year deal, quietly paused. No new projects greenlit. Any talk of future spin-offs or specials, gone. Meghan, for her part, tried to spin the situation. Her team hinted in private calls that Netflix was afraid of her creative freedom. They floated the idea of releasing the original finale independently, maybe on YouTube, maybe in a special. But Netflix's legal team shut that down fast. They owned the footage. They weren't about to let the beach scene become public without a fight. And so the dream ended not with applause or acclaim, but with silence. A show that was supposed to mark her triumphant return had turned into an unintentional case study in how not to manage fame. Meghan Markle bet big on herself, and Netflix cashed out.